Out here, and my name is Dimple. I'll be hosting the entire event today. And today we are gathered here to exchange good ideas and traditional way that we welcome in Maharashtra. It was a Maharashtrian touch for all the people present out here. Excuse me. Before we start our day, I would request all our VIP guests to come up on stage and do the lamp lighting, and I would request Mr. Suman Sheth of Bombay Tea Traders Association, Shri R.C. Agarwal of Theta and Mohini Tea, Mr. Suresh Kotak of Kotak Commodities Limited, Her Excellence Ms. Saroja Sirisena ma'am, please come up on stage. And I would also request His Excellence Dr. Yurofa to please come up on stage. All the people please kindly, and also Mr. Sumit sir, please come up on stage and do the lamp lighting ceremony so that we can start our day with God's blessing.
Still Dada. Today lecture.
I would also request Mitesh sir to please come, Mitesh Kavadia sir to please come up on stage and do the lamp lighting along with our guest. And God's blessing, I would request all our guests to please be seated. The company. And Sentinel Group comprises of three entities, namely Sentinel Exhibition Asia Private Limited, Sentinel Public Relations Private Limited, and Sentinel Advertising Services. These are the three major group of companies that deals into various activities. Sentinel Exhibition Asia Private Limited deals in organizing and managing international business conferences and trade expos. It helps clients to expand through business, trade fairs, delegates meets, conferences and exhibitions. It's done on a highly proficiencies and in a very, very professional way. Now coming up to our second company, that's Sentinel Public Relations Private Limited. It is a flagship of a company, and it is a leader in corporate PR and has closely worked with more than 500 corporates across the industry since its inception in 1997. Sentinel Advertising Services is full-fledged advertising agency covering all aspects of an effective and efficient advertisement campaigns for print, TV, radio, newspapers, new age media and outdoors. This was a little brief about our Sentinel Group, and after a little brief of the company, now I would all request our special guest, VIP guest. I'll welcome one by one to all our guests on the dais. I would request you all to please come up on dais and join us on stage. And Liu Yofa sir, please come up on stage. I would request Mrs. Preeti Kakadia to come up on stage. And here we also have one of our most important guests, that is Suresh Kotak sir from the Kotak Commodities Limited. He has made his presence today. Thank you so much, sir. I would request P.T. Kapadia ma'am to hand over the and a lovely memento to sir as well. Thank you so much, sir. I would request now P.T. ma'am to please hand over a bouquet and a lovely memento to Saroja ma'am, please. Saroja ma'am here. Okay, and a lovely memento to Shri R.C. Agarwal sir. And now I request P.T. ma'am to hand over a lovely bouquet and a memento to Sumit Shah sir. And P.T. ma'am will now hand over a bouquet and a lovely memento to Suresh Kotak sir. Thank you, sir, for making your presence. It's an amazing by one call our guests to come up here on the podium and give a wonderful speech and share their views and ideas, starting with Shri R.C. Agarwal sir. Shri R.C. Agarwal sir, Vice Chairman FETA and Chairman Mohini Tea. A little brief about you, sir. I wanted to share with our crowd, so I will just say a little thing about you. A young and a dynamic entrepreneur, Mr. R.C. Agarwal has made his presence felt in tea industry across the country by virtue of his leadership ability and enduring personality. A management wizard and an accomplished tea tester in his own right, Mohini has grown by leaps and bounds under his astute leadership. Besides being on the board of directors of Mohini Group, he also holds prestigious positions in various regional and national level organizations such as Tea Packers Association of Uttar Pradesh, ISKCON, Jesse, Rotary Club, etc. He is the current president of Tea Packers Association of UP and also participates actively in events organized by Tea Board of India. Mr. Agarwal has converted Mohini into a household name through single-handed dedication and commitment. An amazing way to grow the company, and I would now request you, sir, to please come upon guys and give a little views of yours in front of our amazing crowd present out here. Thank you.
Her Excellency Ms. Saroja, Consul General Consulate of Sri Lanka, His Excellency Dr. Liu, the Consul General of China, Mr. Kotak, Mr. Sumi, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor for me to address this august gathering on the occasion of the World Tea and Coffee exhibition being held in Mumbai. Being a passionate tea lover, it is always a pleasure to talk about the fascinating world of this unique beverage. With its magical impact, without even holding my cup of tea, just the thought of tea makes me feel awakened and energized. Although tea originated in China, from where it spread all over the world in the past couple of centuries, India was a leading producer, consumer and exporter of tea till about a decade back. However, my China, with its enormous enthusiasm and determination, has taken the lead in production and consumption to become the largest producer and consumer, beating India by 300 to 400,000 tons, and Sri Lanka, with its sustainable efforts and focused branding, managed to secure the #1 position in tea exports. Therefore, most unfortunately, India lost its primacy in all three parameters, and it is now a challenge for us to try and regain at least one or three areas where we dominated for decades. Talking about tea production, although the total production has grown over the years and we have achieved 1,200 tons of total production last year with growing consumption, the overall surplus has remained stagnant at around 200,000 tons. India tea production has just doubled in the past 25 years, and in the same period, Chinese production has grown over 4 times, leading to number one position in production and consumption. India tea production has remained focused on black tea, and China continues on dominate on the green tea market in the world. Tea production in India is unfortunately handicapped by non-availability of land, which is suitable for tea cultivation. Surprisingly, biggest contribution in the past decade in overall growth of tea production in India has come from bottle factories who are supplied green leaf by thousands of small tea growers in Assam and North Bengal tea area. This practice has been followed by China for decades, and they have been able to grow production by focusing on small growers and large processing factories, which has boosted the overall tea production and thereby consumption sustainability over the years. Sri Lanka has done a commendable job by building the brand Ceylon Tea through sustained efforts, investment and commitment, which has resulted in giving them an upper hand compared to other growers and exporters of tea. Further, Sri Lanka has constantly focused on value-added exports rather than bulk tea exports, which gave the sustainability and higher value realization. Ladies and gentlemen, I strongly believe that the time has now come for tea-producing exporting countries to collaborate rather than compete in overall interest of the growth of industry, as there is a lot we can learn and share with each other to collectively boost the production, consumption and export at global level. Whilst India can lead in the supply of fine quality CTC along with Kenya, Sri Lanka will continue to specialize in the orthodox segment, and China, with its traditional supremacy in green tea, will meet the growing demand for green teas world over. Therefore, instead of competing, we can complement each other by building expertise in our respective areas and allow free flow of our produce to each other so that we all can cater to the consumer world over. The variety of teas with international flavors and serve every consumer according to their needs. This will not only encourage growth of consumption but also ensure that tea industry remains healthy and continue to sustain livelihood of millions of people associated with us. At the end, I would like to once again thank the organizer of the exhibition, as it offers a platform for the tea community to discuss issue of common interest and of course building relations with domestic and international tea traders. Look forward very successful and enjoyable interaction over the next 3 days. Thank you very much.
A big round of applause for him. I want all of you all to participate in doing that. Yeah, you will enjoy doing it then. And now I request Mr. Sumit Shah, Director Madhu Tea, to please come here and just share your valuable words with the crowd present out here. A big round of applause for Sumit sir as well. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, the honorary guests, the speakers on the panel over here and the organizers. A large thank you from me for having me here to speak. Mr. Agarwal has already given a big overview of the entire tea industry, so I'll keep my views short over here. I really thank the organizers for bringing this exhibition for the second year into the country. In India, even though we are such a large tea drinking nation, there's no real platform for tea growers, tea packers to communicate, collaborate in a formal setting. And that's why we've taken part this year with the view to meet other tea organizers, meet other tea packers other brands and see how we together can compete against the global competition that we face. I hope the exhibition is a great success. Thank you.
I would like to call upon Mr. Suresh Kotak sir. Before you come up here on dais, I would like to say something about you. Mr. Suresh Kotak is a visionary, a highly respected and reputed commodity expert in India with over 5 decades of experience in commodity markets. He not only brings with him the rich legacy of Kotak family but also a huge undisputable knowledge on the commodity markets. His vision and guidance will be a great asset of the company. Asset to the company. Mr. Kotak is also a chairman of Kotak and Company, Kotak Chemicals Limited and Kotak Ginning and Pressing Industry Limited. I would request you, sir, to please come up here on the podium and give your valuable words to all the people present out here. Thank you.
Good morning to all of you. Dear friends, this is my second visit. That means this is the second time that I have come to this wonderful exposition. We have today with us Honorable Consul General of China, whom I meet very often and on all the trade meets. Sir, you are very active. My heartiest congratulations to you. Madam Honorary Consul of Lanka, also welcome. And I am very glad that Lanka has been making remarkable progress. Agarwal ji, your exposition on the various economical aspects of the tea production, the consumption side, the need, are really very remarkable, very studied what you said in a very short time. Sunil bhai, I was listening to you and I agree with you. There has to be a platform, a kind of a regular platform which can constantly exchange views and make a remarkable progress in unison. My dear friend Mitesh Bhai, when he tells me anything I have to do it. He is such a good friend. And he has dynamic wife as a partner and very spirited couple. And I see a number of friends also here, number of journalists whom I know. Friends, I was just wondering that what I should speak. I thought that I must speak as a consumer. I am a consumer of both tea and coffee, and both are my very favorite drinks. But I choose the timings. I consider meritoriously tea to be of great value, a great medicinal value also. And with the combination that India is producing now, say for example our Tulsi tea, a Japanese friend of mine told me the value of Tulsi tea. He says, you know, Tulsi is a very fine medicinal herb from India, and it is antibacterial. It has a kind of a antibiotic element also. It is antifungal. So all the kinds of advantages of Tulsi tea, I heard Japanese friends talking to me. So when I go to China, I go to China very often. I have stayed in China for more than 5 years. So the first time when I went as a consumer, in a party, they produce, they display, and they gave me a choice that these are the teas. Which tea would you like, Mr. Kotak? At that time I did not have sufficient knowledge of the tea and which tea is good and which is the what and all that. Only I knew the jasmine tea about China, and I just said, oh, I prefer jasmine. But it was an ignorance, and then I started learning what are different teas that are available in China, and I could learn that there are a number of varieties of teas which China produces. Then when I go to Ceylon, I have seen a number of kinds of tea, and the interest in tea was ignited by my visit to China earlier. Kenya also, I have found certain teas a different kind, different flavor. I have now realized, after visiting various Indian stalls last time and using the tea, some of them, what I have done is I try to use different types of teas. One of the type of tea recently tasted by me had a flavor of Promengate. I was surprised that a tea with the flavor of Promengate, but it has such a medicinal advantage, and we have all become tea bhagats. And with different shades of tea, I can tell you, sir, India has done a considerable progress, a considerable number of types of tea, even in green tea. In the green tea, we are one of the best, and India can definitely progress much more. If the production is a constraint, Mr. Agarwal, let us put our mind together how to increase production. And for increasing production, I think what we can take a lesson is the small units and small, which you have mentioned, but if we have a platform as recommended by young man Sumit, we can definitely work out something very well. Friends, another thing I was always thinking, why about coffee also. I have been seeing a number of things about coffee. During a day, morning I take tea, evening I take coffee. Because coffee is also, it produces a lot of good results. It gives you stamina to work more. It keeps you fresh. It has a number of good advantages which I learned. So both the things, both the tea and coffee has tremendous medicinal value which I feel, and tremendous value to sustain the work, and also it's a good drink, very healthy drink, very innocent drink. I was trying to analyze the word beverage. Now they call, these are beverages, coffee, tea and cocoa are beverages. So beverages, then I was thinking, why this word beverage? Then looking to the analysis of the word, I found that beware age is beverage. So it stops the age. If we take the drink properly, it stops the age, it freshens you and keeps you very well throughout. Friends, with all this, I am very glad to be one with you, and let me tell you, this exhibition is nothing else but removing your wrong idea. Removing inhibition is the exhibition. So I wish the exhibition a great success. All of us, let us participate. Let us promote this health drink, and this as a consumer, let us promote and create a platform to increase production. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Present out here, thank you very much. Now I would request Her Excellency Ms. Saroja Sirisena Ma'am, Consul General of Sri Lanka in Mumbai. She served as a Director General for External Relations in the Ministry of Economic Development, handling foreign affairs related matters from 2012-2014. Ms. Sarojina ma'am is a career diplomat of Sri Lanka, Foreign Service, who has served as Minister of the Permanent Mission of Sri Lanka to the United Nations Office in Geneva from April 2010 October 2011, and the Minister Council of the Sri Lanka Embassy in Brussels, accredited to the European Union from 2007-2010. She has also served in Sri Lanka Embassy in Paris and in Sri Lanka's permanent missions to UNESCO as the first secretary from 2001-2005. I would request ma'am to please come up here on the dais, and also I would like to share a few things about her. She loves reading, she loves working out, and also play piano. So if we get time and we have that piano somewhere, I think we should hear it from you. Thank you. I would request you ma'am to please come up here.
I would first like to thank the organizers for inviting me here and creating such a platform for the very important beverages, tea and of course coffee. I would like to also congratulate the previous speakers and also acknowledge on the desk my colleague Dr. Liu. I'm honored to be sharing the desk with him as my first public event after taking up my post as Consul General of Sri Lanka in Mumbai. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a privilege for me to be just share a few thoughts on Ceylon tea. For many decades, Sri Lanka's tea was Sri Lanka's main export commodity, its best known brand, and the primary source of income for her people. Sri Lanka's export basket today has diversified, and tea no longer is the largest foreign income earner. And I believe that we are also known for many other products and services in addition to being the best source of black teas in the world. Yet, through these changes, the many things that make Ceylon tea unique have remained the same. The same care and passion is still vibrantly applied in the making of each bag of Ceylon tea. It was during the British era that tea first began to be cultivated and manufactured. I'm told by experts that although the first tea plant was brought to the island in 1824 from China, teas from Assam in India have also been planted since 1839. It is these Assam varieties that, as they are referred to by the industry people, that many of the currently grown cultivars have been produced through years of careful breeding. Teas from Ceylon, as Sri Lanka was known during the colonial period, soon gained a reputation of being the finest in the world, and tea exports became the mainstay of our colonial economy. Tea is not just another industry for Sri Lanka, ladies and gentlemen, but it is a way of life for us. It is because of this that local companies have been able to become world leaders in this industry. Sri Lanka's tea industry is unique, as over 90% of our teas are exported, of what we produce in the country. Today, several brands have carved out a niche for themselves, and they add enormous value to our products. These brands are now recognizable globally, sometimes even being synonymous with black tea. This is indeed a long way from being a bulk tea exporter for foreign brands, as the industry started out in the 19th century. In this branding and marketing, I see the future for Sri Lanka's tea industry. While we could not compete on price with other tea-producing nations, we have been able to remain competitive in the world market due to the industry's ability to reinvent and reinvigorate itself with new products, new flavors, and new brands. Also, by adhering to strict environmental protection regimes and providing favorable labor conditions to the significant workforce employed in the plantation sector, we have gained a reputation as being a producer of the cleanest tea in the world. It is most encouraging to witness a premium being placed on such ethical practices, fair trade policies, protection of the environment and good labor conditions in today's world. These are particularly important as the global tea industry competes with its erstwhile nemesis, coffee, to attract a greater market share, especially amongst the younger consumer, who is prepared to pay a premium for such high standards. I see many opportunities for cooperation between the tea producing and exporting nations. At the outset, as some of the previous speakers also said, it may appear that our countries are competing for the same markets while offering the same product. Yet, in the grander scheme of things, we have equally good opportunities to work together. To start with, the promotion of tea over other beverages will undoubtedly help us. Another area where I can think of is the protection of geographical indications. In this regard, GIs such as Darjeeling tea and Ceylon tea face the same challenges. To qualify for the special legal distinction denoted by the word Ceylon tea and the famous lion logo that goes with it, the tea must not only be grown and manufactured entirely in Sri Lanka, it must also conform to the strict quality standards laid down and administered by the Sri Lanka Tea Board. It cannot, moreover, be mixed or blended with tea from any other parts of the world. Even a blend that is 95% Sri Lankan cannot be described as Ceylon tea. Similar high standards are applied to the other geographical indicated teas of the world. Yet in many countries, unscrupulous elements illegally blend these branded teas and sell adulterated products using the geographical indicators. Consumers who would naturally expect the finest quality teas associated with brands such as Ceylon tea or Darjeeling are duped. Much can be done if our efforts are combined to address these common challenges. The legal frameworks through bilateral and multilateral mechanisms can strengthen the respect for brands, logos and trademarks associated with unique products. Ladies and gentlemen, it was indeed an immense joy for me to be here today and speak of one of the finest products for which my country is famous. I hope you all continue to enjoy the joys of Ceylon tea, and I wish the exhibition a resounding success. Thank you.